I'm having so much fun with you all. I'm losing my voice, but you know, by my calculations, we've got just over 690 days until the end of the Obama administration. And that day can't come soon enough. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got work to do right now. 2014 was a great year for Republicans in America. We took back the Senate and we fired Harry Reid. We won the largest majority in the House since 1928. And we now have 31 Republican governors in America, including the governor of the president's home state of Illinois, Elizabeth Warren's state of Massachusetts, and how about right here in Maryland with Larry Hogan? It was a great year for our party. But you know, we can't get comfortable. Winning in 2016 is going to be a lot of work, winning a big cultural vote in this country. But if we do that hard work, we will win the White House. We'll have a Republican president, and 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue will never be home to the Clintons again. Now, here's what the Democrats don't want you to admit. It's not just conservatives at CPAC who are tired of the Obama-Clinton agenda. Polls show that over 70% of the country want the next president to take a different direction than Barack Obama. That's bad news for Hillary Clinton, because I can guarantee you, America, you're not going to get something different than Obama with a member of the Obama administration. You're going to get a third term of Barack Obama. I don't think our country will accept that. I don't think our Constitution can handle that. And I don't think our kids can afford that. The good news for us is Republicans have a great field of candidates that are running for president. And I'd much rather have that than what the Democrats have. They've got one candidate ready to coronate herself. And they have a sitting vice president who can't control his mouth or his hands, who's been running for president since before I could vote. Republican voters are going to have a real choice. That means real debates about new ideas. And speaking of debates, I'm proud to tell you that the days of the media calling the shots in our primary debates are over. You know, in the past, you know, the media got to decide when and where and how many debates there were. Not anymore. At the RNC, we created a new system for a reasonable number of debates. By the way, how many people here think it's a good idea for us to have 23 debates in front of people like Chris Matthews? This time, we're going to assist in choosing debate partners and panelists, not the other way around. Conservative media will have a voice in the process. For example, we just announced that Salem Radio, the home of Hugh Hewitt and Bill Bennett, will partner for the debates with CNN. So the field day for the liberal media is over. At the RNC, we've also reformed the primary process so that more Republicans have a chance to cast their ballots and have a say in the selection of our nominee. It's going to be different this time. And let me be clear. This is the voters, the delegates who choose the nominee. Unlike the Democrats, there will be no coronation in the Republican Party. If you want to win the nomination, you're going to have to earn the nomination. But when we have a nominee, we'll have to come together stronger and more united than ever to defeat Hillary Clinton. You know, the funny thing about Hillary Clinton is that the more people that hear from her, the less they like her. In fact, in the last 6 years, her approval rating was the highest when she was out of the country and off the campaign trail. True fact. That's probably why Hillary barely comes out in public these days. If there's not a private luxury jet and a $250,000 speaking fee waiting for her, you can forget about it. The truth is, she doesn't have much to say. If you ask her press people anything, they'll just say, no comment. I'm sure Obama wishes Biden would follow that example. Really, this is what you would get if you asked the Clinton people a question. Do you support Keystone? No comment. Do you have a plan for ISIS? No comment. How are you different than Barack Obama? No comment. Where were you on the night of the Benghazi attacks? What difference at this point does it make? It makes a lot of difference. If you want to lead the American people, it's time to face the American people. Oh, and by the way, if I was Hillary Clinton, this speech would have already cost you $20,000. But Hillary would never speak here. You've seen her speaking contracts and her Hollywood-style backstage demands. Well, you know, I checked backstage. There was insufficient crudité. The water temperature was off by a few degrees, and I don't think the lemon wedges were cut quite at the right angle. You know, did I mention that I think Hillary Clinton's lost touch with America? Even I, and I'm sure most of you and everyone else watching this would have to Google how to spell crudité. And that, by the way, is coming from a guy whose name is Reince Priebus. By the way, my kids are named Jack and Grace, so some family traditions are worth killing off, and my name's one of them. Of course, now, if you ask Joe Biden what crudité is, he'd probably say this. Oh, yeah, I had a great relationship with that community. There's an awful lot of them driving cabs in Delaware. For real, man, they're friends of mine. And that's his words, not mine. And then, of course, then he'd rub your neck without permission. But seriously, when Hillary's making $300,000 for a speech and $8 million on a book and owns 2 homes, she's not dead broke. She's dead wrong and out of touch with reality. We don't have a problem. We don't have a problem with financial success. We just think you ought to work for it. The problem for America is not just Hillary who's out of touch, it's her whole party. They tell us they're for the middle class, but they veto the Keystone Pipeline, good-paying jobs. They tell us they're for Main Street, not Wall Street, but they pass Dodd-Frank, making the big banks bigger and the small banks disappear. They tell us they're for good health care, but they raised our premiums, canceled our plans, and denied access to our doctors. They tell us they're for education, but they caved to the teachers' unions and blocked school choice and forced kids to be stuck in failing schools. A good school shouldn't be a privilege reserved for the rich and well-connected. It should be an option for all parents in this country, regardless of what your zip code is. Now, I don't even know where to start on national security. Democrats tell us they understand the world, but then they call climate change, not radical Islamic terrorism, the greatest threat to national security. Look, I think we all care about our planet, but melting icebergs aren't beheading Christians in the Middle East. If you look at the ruthless slaughtering of innocents of all faiths in the Middle East and Europe and call that our greatest strength, greatest threat, then you know what? It's time to get a different profession. But that's how the Democrats see the world. And by the way, don't you agree they ought to show up and welcome Prime Minister Netanyahu and listen to what our greatest ally, Israel, has to say? And as for us, we need to make the case against Hillary Clinton and her party. And if you really want to stump a liberal, ask them to name Hillary Clinton's greatest accomplishment. She is known for Hillary Care, which was a failed attempt to force Obamacare on us 15 years earlier. And after all that foreign travel as Secretary of State, She didn't raise much goodwill for our country. But now we see that she did manage to raise a lot of foreign money for the Clinton Foundation, taking money from countries like Algeria and Oman while she was Secretary of State, which makes you wonder, how will those donations affect her answer on that 3 a.m. phone call? I can hear it now. Don't worry, Sultan. Just send $10 million to the foundation and it'll all work out. Reports say that Hillary Clinton has over 200 advisors figuring out her reason for running. And maybe they'll figure it out, but I can't. I do know the reason we need a Republican president, and to borrow the words of Joe Biden, quote, "The last 6 years have been really, really hard for this country," end quote. We know what we stand for, and maybe Hillary Clinton's focus groups will figure out what she stands for. But still, I want to say this one more time. And you all know I'm a Wisconsin guy and a big Green Bay Packers fan. And as the great coach Vince Lombardi is quoted as saying, the only place where success comes before work is in a dictionary. We're going to continue to build the mechanics, the infrastructure across America. You know, I'm in charge of a lot of the boring stuff. The ground game, the registration, the data, the process. But we have to do that so that when we have a nominee, no matter who that is, no matter who it is that you're really wanting to get behind and help, we've got to have a national party that's got its act together and is competent in the mechanics so that our nominee can plug into the best machine possible. So let's get to work and make sure there's no third term of Barack Obama and his policies. Let's defeat the Clintons once and for all, and let's elect a conservative Republican president who will fight for working Americans each and every day. Thank you. The work begins here at CPAC. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.